you ready to be liberated on this Southside City street?
Hey everyone, it's Ivan, KeepBadger.com, here to bring you another gear review, and today I'm talking about this guy, which is the Spiritus Systems Microfight chest rig. I was first introduced to this by a friend of mine who I used to serve with. He'd been using it while contracting and had some good things to say about it. But I had reservations. My first experience with Rhodesian harnesses was when I first started contracting. We were wearing them over slick plate carriers and didn't really work very well. They were set up one way, a bunch of double AR mag pouches across the front. Didn't care for it. Fast forward, SHOT Show 2018, had the opportunity to actually put my hands on these, check them out, as well as talk with Zane from Spiritus Systems. And I was pretty impressed, ended up picking up a set. Going back to my reservations about chest rigs in general is they're set up one way usually. You have your jungle warfare chest rig or your direct action chest rig, and they're set up in such a way that someone thinks it's the best, most ergonomic way. What sold me on this was that it was configurable. I specifically picked it up in part for a class that I had coming up, which was a Night Fighter 101 with Viking Tactics. And I knew I wasn't going to be wearing a battle belt, so I wanted to be able to have access to certain things in that course without wearing that battle belt. So basically 3 mags across the front, 2 pistol mags for my secondary, as well as a med kit. This allowed me to do that. How? Modularity. The whole concept of the Microfight chest rig is predicated on the idea of modularity. It's centered around this piece, which is the chassis. Basically, it's a double pouch grommeted on the bottom, and inside the back as well as the front, it's lined with female Velcro. On the back, peel back this panel and there's male Velcro, should you use this in conjunction with some of the chest rigs. And then of course you have your buckles going along the sides. 2 males up top, 2 females on either side. With this, we can create whatever we want. As I mentioned, I wanted the ability to carry 3 primary magazines in the back. So I ended up with this guy. Basically, it is these elastic pouches that are secured with Velcro. Get it in, place it where you want it, press this guy down, get the Velcro stuck on there, at which point you can place your magazines in there. Up front, again, I wanted access to 2 of my magazines for my secondary. So I went with this guy, same deal. Put it in here, press it down, I now have that. And I can put magazines in there or pretty much anything else, whether it be a flashlight or maybe a multi-tool. Specifically for that class, I wanted 2 secondary mags rather. Also, I ended up with this guy. This is their half flap. Half flap being half of this versus a full flap, which they also make. And ultimately what this does is creates a flap over one or both of the pockets. The way you insert this is whichever one you want to put it in, throw this guy in here. Again, seals itself up with Velcro, at which point comes over, this being the half flap, covers half of it. This allows you to go ahead and use this as basically a pouch, where I ended up keeping med supplies. Again, depending on how you want to set this up, you can put it deeper or higher in that back section where it's secured with Velcro, which ultimately will create how far down this flap goes, so you can have something stick out and still have this come over and secure itself. Then we end up with this guy, which is the back strap. Sounds exactly like it is, goes around your back. Clips into the bottom buckle, comes around, snaps in there. Then we get to our shoulder harness. This right here is the fat strap. They also make one that's thinner. This essentially clips in right here. It's an H-style harness. And coming up the sides on either side, you have some webbing or some loops rather, where you can actually run comms if you want, or maybe even hydration. And then the pieces come around the backside to go ahead and secure it to your body. One of the reasons I like this, just like a battle belt, easy to put on, easy to take off. Being right-handed, I keep the buckles over on the left-hand side, buckled usually all the time, but throw your arm through the H harness, put your head through it, at which point you're going to take your back strap around your back, clip it in, and then just the last piece on your harness, clip that guy in, and you're good to go. The other thing that's really nice is how easy this can scale to layers that you're wearing. So spend a lot of time out shooting all year round. In the winter, it's really cold, have a bunch of layers on, big down jacket. And as much as I like battle belts, it's a pain to try and scale that out like another 4 inches in the middle of winter. So really easy to adjust this out, throw this on, go get some time at the range. Additionally, it's easy to adjust this if this is gonna go over body armor too. Take this guy off. Again, being right-handed, usually undo the ones on the right-hand side. Done, easy. To the end of plate carriers, this actually rides really well over a lot of plate carriers. Spiritus Systems makes their own, which obviously this mounts up perfectly with. Basically these buckles clip straight into it. And depending on the type of plate carrier and the way you have buckles set up, you can absolutely get this chassis piece to clip into your plate carrier, at which point you just secure the sides. Works really well. If you usually draw out from the waistline, battle belt, something along those lines, it's really easy to transition to drawing from up here. Really, it's a matter of going out and getting some reps in at the range. Comes pretty quick, the reloads are pretty quick as well. And if you still really like drawing out from the waistline, you can also use the Microfight chest rig, if nothing else, to basically feed your magazines back down there as you draw them from your waistline. For me, there was definitely a learning curve drawing out from my secondary from my chest. But a couple trips to the range, putting in that time, ultimately, just like anything else, put in the time, it gets pretty easy, you get pretty quick at it. One thing I would love to see in this is the incorporation of some elastic in this back strap, so that once you get this thing cinched down, it's nice and snug. As you're moving, there's a little bit of a play, or as you start exerting yourself, start breathing heavy, this basically moves with your body a little more, just like cummerbunds that incorporate elastic. Speaking of elastic or any other hack, there's a lot that you can do with this. I posted a video a while back about basically a little hack turning this into a bino harness using rare earth magnets. And there's other companies out there actually creating basically add-ons for this platform, whether it's zippered tops for these pouches, all kinds of stuff. Not to mention Spiritus Systems has all kinds of different add-ons that they have for it as well, whether it's expander wings for radios or other gear, or different inserts like 7.62 size magazines, as well as some different pouches that hang down, whether you put med kits in there, breaching kits, all kinds of different stuff. This is amazing with respect to modularity. So much so that you can pretty much set it up for whatever you want. When you go to pick one of these up, basically buy it a la carte. Pick out all the different pieces, all the components that you want that's gonna fit your mission task, however you're gonna use this thing. This, everything you see here, ran me about 200 bucks. Is that expensive? I don't know. Really high quality materials made to a really high standard here in the US. You're gonna end up paying for that. Overall, I've been really pleased with this though, and I think there's plenty of value there. Not to mention, it's configurable. Once you have basically the setup, you can add or take things away depending on how you want to use this. Color-wise, pretty much all your standard fare to include every flavor of multicam. This, obviously, multicam Alpine. Where I live, there's snow on the ground about a quarter of the year. This was kind of my first stepping off point into the Microfight chest rig because I wanted something for winter activities, and honestly, I think it looks cool. But I'll probably pick up something else that matches the other 3 seasons. If you want to pick it up, go straight through spiritussystems.com. They'll have everything there, all the different components, as well as their plate carriers, other equipment that they make. Pretty rad product though. If you pick one up, let me know how it does for you. And as always, thanks for joining us at kitbadger.com. Look forward to seeing you next time.